All right, welcome back. Get some stuff cleaned up here real quick, and I got a quick project I need to work on today. So here's something I've been working on for a little while, kind of. One of the things I like to have for any production setup is the ability to run everything from battery, at least with the current setup that I have, which is mostly using like the ATEM Mini Pro ISO and Blackmagic pocket cinema camera, etc., etc., etc. And the only thing that I had that really wasn't battery powered, because like the laptops and everything else to control it are, is the ATEM switcher itself. So this is my first attempt right here, and this is a locking connector, a DC barrel jack that fits that with a non-locking side for the other end that can go into any 12 volt or 15 volt source or anything like that off of one of these V-mount batteries to power it. Now, the issue that I'm having is that this connector, and these are 5.5 millimeter outside diameter by 2.2, 2.1 for the pen. And the issue that I'm running into is that these connectors that aren't the 2.2/2.5 or whatever the equivalent is there, millimeter size connectors, since this is a single size, it's just got a solid tube on it. Now, what I'm running into is when it plugs into here, the center pin seems to lose connection sometimes. And I get the same thing kind of on the Blackmagic. But the difference is that the pin on it, on its jack, is actually split. And if you put a little screwdriver or something like that in it, you can spread it apart a little bit. Because it's supposed to be like a friction fit, but it's like a spring fit. So on there, I don't really have the issue. I just have the issue on here. So I think what I'm going to do is, instead of using a DC barrel jack on this end that connects to the battery, is to use one of these Dtap battery connections here and wire that up. And what this will allow me to do is just to plug directly into one of these battery plates or directly into the battery itself if I need to. And the idea is that I can use it kind of as a UPS. So if I'm out doing a show, I can plug the ATEM into this, and if there is no power, I can run this entire thing and I can stream over wireless or something like that. So whatever. I don't know how long this will last on one of these batteries. This is a 150 watt hour. I think they go up to about 190. And I could do some quick math and everything and figure it out. But I'll do some testing also to see how long it'll last just on battery power. But as I was saying, I can use it as a UPS, which is what I prefer to do. So like a laptop I'll have plugged into mains power. And then if somebody trips over a cord or the power goes out or whatever, the battery inside obviously keeps it running. Same thing with the cameras. So I have it powered via one of the V-mount batteries externally via the 2-pin locking connector, but it still has an internal battery that I keep charged just in case the power goes out, I don't lose anything. I try to do that with every piece of equipment, at least for kind of this mobile setup. But as a UPS, I can have the battery attached to this plate, and I can power the ATEM switcher from this connector, and then I can plug in the charger for it to this connector, and it'll basically pass that voltage through to the plate, slash charge up this battery if it's not charged. Now, you got to be careful with that, because if the the total output that you can draw from this is higher than the input that the power supply can handle. So there is a possibility, especially with less expensive systems, that you could overload that power supply and cause it to, well, short out, burn out, whatever, or at least blow a fuse or something like that in the power supply. And I don't have, let me see if I have one of the power supplies down here somewhere. All right, so I do have some other things here. First of all, the power supply. So this is one of the chargers. I have two different brands. I have a couple different brands of these batteries, but this is just a Indy Pro for 16.8 volt lithium ion battery charger. So the maximum output of this is 17 volts, and the maximum charging current is 2.5 amps. So this one actually has a really good output. Input is, universal 100 to 240 volts, etc. So this one's not too bad. So this one I could definitely charge the battery from, like so, plus have, and I'll use this as an example, plus have this plugged in. And I use this for the camera rig too, so I have this set up. I'll have one of these battery plates with battery on the tripod with the camera that'll have like the monitor mounted above the camera. It'll power the camera. It'll power the focus motor. What else? If I have an external recorder or tally light or anything like that, it can all be powered off of this. And if the tripod's not moving anywhere, if it's a stationary camera, I can have this plugged in, and this will provide it power. And if this gets unplugged or something, then this will provide backup power. Or obviously, if I need to move it around, then I can just unplug this and be able to have a mobile rig, because everything's powered through one of these base plates. And so the other example I had was, obviously, this is the charger for the battery that I end up using as a power supply. I've got a 7-inch monitor that I can power off of one of these dummy batteries, or I can power it directly off of with a DC jack right there. And my goal is to have everything be a standard size, so making it so that all of these DC jacks are the same size for 12 volts up to 15 volts or whatever. And most of these are the same standard size too. Now, if you look at this plug here, let me zoom down on it a little bit there. And you'll notice the difference between these two. So this one is a like 2.2 or 2.1 to 2.5 millimeter pin, and this one's just one size. So this one has two like spring-loaded terminals on the inside that connect with the pin. So if I use it with the ATEM or something like that, it will have a more solid connection. So these are all different kinds of connectors I tried. I got two of the one that I needed, so this is the correct one right here. And this is from DigiKey, part number SC1149-ND, connection power plug 2.5 by 5.5 millimeter solder. So that's what you need for the ATEM side of it, and it is just a straight connector with a locking screw ring and as a solder on connector, which fits this 14 gauge or 16 gauge. I can't remember, but this is like a double insulated silicone power cable, basically. And then here's other various ones. So 5.5 by 2.1. So yeah, it's 2.1 millimeters is what I'm trying to adapt everything to. These are all the same. These are right angle versions of those, but none of these are the split compression style like these are. So I'm trying to find some of these that I can get in either locking or like right angle plugs, and they're a little bit harder to find than I thought they would be. So still on the lookout for those. So otherwise, I just want to cut this off, get it in here, get strain relief and everything on it, and go from there. I might do a custom shrink wrap cable on here that identifies what this is. So go ahead and get started here. Take off that. And the length of this doesn't really matter too much. I mean, it's probably 4 feet right now. It's long enough that I can have like the ATEM up here and the battery down below or something like that if I have it on my on my production card or something like that, just to make it easier. And there's some crimp things in here that go inside of it. Let's see how this goes together. Do that. Grab my screwdriver. Usually, yep, these are labeled. So there is a plus and minus side on here. As long as I remember what my colors were on the other, I should be all right. And there we go. There's just 2 pins, like so. And I think you can make this all right. Try to do that without cutting all the way through the insulation. What colors did I do? I'll find out. These are all center positive. Might be the blue one. Nope. Okay, so brown is positive. Brown is positive. So let's see first. I think I want to do a cable for it. You see how this connects, I think. Yeah, this goes in there. Cable will go around it. Which side is positive? Okay, so this will go there. This will go there. Shrink wrap it first. Shrink wrap material for the dymo that I'm using for my production harnesses, so I can serial number and logo things at least. And on here, I think I'll just label this as ATEM switcher and maybe have the voltage on it or something like that. Once it boots up, yes, don't save. All right, so let's go ahead and make a new label here. Heat shrink tubing, landscape, yes. 2 inches, and that's fine. what is the voltage range on here? 9 to 20 volts, 36 watts, center positive. 9, 20 volts. All right, so I'll go ahead and print that. There we go. I will run this down the tube here first, if I can get it open. There we go. Bring you down. ATEM only, 9 to 20 volts. You have to be careful because there are some battery systems that can go over that voltage, or obviously it's just a DC connector, so you can plug it into anything. There we go. Now for this end, I guess, how do I want to do this? So this will go up over that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-10 those maybe. So I want that to go there. And let's trim these off to where they need to be. Like so. I'm going to put the shrink wrap on. That. And this is a glue line shrink wrap, so it'll create a nice seal there, which will then be double sealed on that. And I generally like to heat these till a little bit of glue kind of comes out the end, just so that you know that it made a good seal there. It's still a little hot. So I'm going to start by pre-tinning these wires. Actually, for this, I'm going to switch out to a little bit bigger iron. There we go. That one's for my surface mount stuff, so there's not quite a lot of heat there. This one is already hot. There we go. That needs to be a little bit shorter too. Alrighty, so I should be able to heat this up. see if that worked at all. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Trying to avoid getting kind of like a cold solder connection or whatever, and these have a lot of thermal mass, so it can be a little difficult. So I'll try to do the same thing here. That one I think looks pretty good. All right. Secure both connectors. Now to figure out how to jam everything into the plastic in there. They're also still a little hot. All right, so that's still correct, right? Positive and negative. Brown is positive. All right. So we'll jam this one. Down there. All right. This one goes over here. It should just go right like that, right? Okay. So there's that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in and kind of lock it in place. I think that's what I do, right? Yeah. Go ahead and close this around. Like so. Those in place like so. This back in there. That on top. That looks good. All right. Nut in on the bottom, screw it down. Right, so that looks mostly okay. I could probably crimp this down a little bit more, so let me try that. Carefully take that off. All right, and there we go. So there's a simple Dtap connector to a 2.5 by 5.5 millimeter DC barrel jack that I can use with the ATEM Mini to power it from a battery. That looks good. And I can plug it in here and I'll give it a test. Bring the meter back down. And plug in the battery. Here I should have 14.25, so that's definitely within range. It's about, this battery is how full? Halfway full, so that is perfectly fine, and I can run the switcher off that, or other things, but this is just for the ATEM only 9 to 20 volts. So now that I have one of these done, I might build another one, since I have another one of these connectors for something. I don't know what connection I'll use. Maybe another Dtap or something else like that, or make a longer one, maybe. We'll see. But otherwise, this takes care of my kind of mobility issue with this, so I can stream from the middle of a field somewhere now. With no power, as long as I have an internet connection. But actually, that reminds me, the next I need to build would probably be a power adapter for battery for the router and switch that I use, or get a new one that works off battery anyway. But I think that's going to do it for this video. This is going to work fine, and thanks for watching.